Hi there. Let's make sure that you are starting correctly on this question number 6, investigative task, part A. I only want you to do parts A and B. This video will treat part A. If you haven't done so already, please read this paragraph at the beginning of the question and then familiarize yourself with these two columns of data. It's important that you know what you're looking at before you read the question. So here is the question at the bottom, part A. Do the data suggest that after training, people can correctly predict coin toss outcomes better than the 50% expected by chance alone? So for some reason, these subjects believe that they can go through some amount of training. So after training, out of 100 trials, these are the number of correct predictions for the outcome of a coin toss flip for subject number 1. So out of 100 flips, subject number 1 was able to correctly predict the outcome of the 61 of the tosses. Subject number 2 correctly predicted the outcome of 62 tosses, and so forth. So of course there is no such way to learn or to improve, to be trained as to how to predict coin toss flip outcomes. So this is some sort of a fake or a sham treatment. In some sense, I guess we're looking for some sort of placebo effect here. Nevertheless, with regard then to the question, of course, you would expect people on average to be able to correctly guess 50 of the 100 flips, whether or not the training has any effect whatsoever, just 50-50 shot on each flip. You'd expect them out of 100 to guess about 50 correct. So there we go. There's the suggested null hypothesis. And then we're looking for evidence of better than the 50% expected by chance alone. That gives us an idea of what the alternative should look like. So let's write down what the parameter and what the hypotheses should look like. So the parameter is a mean. So this is the mean number of correct, I'll put it in quotes here, coin toss flip predictions. So the null hypothesis would simply be that that mean is 50. That's the number out of 100 that you should be able to get by chance guessing alone. The alternative then, for which we are searching evidence for, is that the mean would be greater than 50. So there's the null and the alternative hypothesis. As suggested by the question, you should make sure that you have the information in your calculator. So if you press the stat button and enter, I have put the before training scores, that's column 1, and the after training outcomes in column 2. Of course, in this question, you only have to look at list 2. So you should write about your conditions. You need a simple random sample. You need independence, and then you need to check the normality condition. Understand this is means, and the central limit theorem won't apply because the sample size is only 20. So if I press second y equals, you'll see that I already have two plots set up. Plot number 1 is turned on as a histogram for list 2, and plot number 2 is turned on as a box and whisker plot for list 2. So you can press zoom 9 to get a rough idea of what the distributions look like. It's a little less cluttered if you change your y minimum and y maximum, so I'll clean them up a little bit. I'll put in a minimum of -2 and a maximum of 10. The graph's a little bit easier to interpret that way. From the box and whisker plot, there are no outliers. And quite frankly, looking at the histogram, that's a reasonably symmetric histogram. I don't see really any evidence of skewness at all. So it looks like the normality condition is satisfied, and you're good to go with your test. So this is a t-test because this is a test for means. So something to think about, you don't have to choose the stats option. You could run the one variable statistics on list 2 and separately enter the mean, the standard deviation, and the sample size. But understand the data are already in list 2, so you can select the data option and select list 2. Make sure you get in the right null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis values. Then you can calculate the z-score and the p-value, and then just make sure that you take the time to interpret and write about this question in context. Hope this has been helpful.